everybody, it's Danny Griffin with another Monday Mojo. This week's quote: "We wander for distraction, but we travel for fulfillment." Hilaire Belloc, 1870 to 1953, an Anglo-French writer and historian. 1,000 to 3,000 marketing messages a day, maybe 365,000 in a year. Could you handle that? What would it do to your brain? Could you actually sift and sort through all that information? What would it do to your ability to focus? Focus on what? Is it even possible with that many distractions to even figure out what's important to you? The world of marketing trying to convince you that you have no chance of getting what you want without their product or service. Well, this is actually what's happening to us every day. We also seem to be obsessed these days with happiness. It seems like we actually need some happiness expert to show us the way, and yet it always seems like we're chasing a ghost. Eventually, we get so overwhelmed that we turn to the get happy fast pill just to take the shortcut to utopia. Why not? I mean, after all, we rationalize that the world has become so complicated that there probably might not be any other way to get there. Although the situation might seem a bit desperate, there may be a way to fight back that's not so hard after all. Let's start by taking money out of the equation, because there's certainly enough evidence to prove that having a lot of currency will never in itself buy happiness. And just as an aside, what is happiness after all? Well, according to dictionary.com, it's good fortune, pleasure, contentment, joy. And how do we know when we have those? Well, if we asked Aristotle, he'd argue that we achieve it when we reach our goals that we clearly set for ourselves. That, in turn, opens the floodgates in our bodies as the happy chemicals get released naturally. Thinking about this one night, I tuned into 60 Minutes to watch the story of a Russian billionaire, Mikhail Prokhorov, the potential buyer of the NBA's worst New Jersey Nets. The story itself became a microcosmic example of the crazy distracted world we've become as his tale twisted through the tabloid world of sexcapades and Russian politics. But I remained focused on this guy himself. Even though they portrayed him as a playboy, I could see more. He was sharp and focused. As they interviewed him in his office, I finally found the smoking gun as to why this guy was who he was. As they panned the room, the interviewer noticed that there was no computer. What? No computer? No instant access to the world's markets? How could he possibly be so successful, but be so out of touch? Well, as he fielded the questions, he simply stated, "We have too much information. We couldn't possibly handle it all." What was he talking about? What if we missed the news about the latest and greatest, the be-all, the end-all? So, here was this guy acting so nonchalantly about all of what had happened to him, and his major lesson was that we have too many distractions, and it's as easy as just shutting it all down. Now, I'd heard this before, because it's right there for us to read all about in Napoleon Hill's Law of Success. By focusing on a definite chief aim and eliminating all that gets in the way of achieving it. I've also been the apprentice for the last 5 years to a real estate revolutionary who has changed the way residential real estate is sold. But even with a backstage pass, I find him to be elusive when anything steals his focus or time to get what he wants. And now, I finally get it. Hey, this is another Monday Mojo brought to you by freethinkingtools.com. I'm Danny Griffin reminding you to think and thrive. We'll see you next time.